The strange arrival. It was a quiet night when everything changed in John Miller's life. The 30-year-old mechanic was about to go to bed when he heard strange sounds coming from his backyard. At first, he thought it was just the wind, but then he heard what sounded like a baby crying. John lived alone in his small house at the edge of town, far from any neighbors. He grabbed his flashlight and walked to his back door. His hands shook as he heard more unusual noises, sounds that definitely weren't normal for his usually peaceful yard. When he opened the door, the warm summer air hit his face. The moon was full, casting enough light to see something moving near his old oak tree. John pointed his flashlight toward the movement, and what he saw made him freeze in place. There under the tree stood the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. But she wasn't like any woman from Earth. Her skin had a soft blue glow, and her hair looked like strands of starlight. In her arms, she held a crying baby wrapped in what looked like shimmering cloth. "Please," she said in broken English, her voice shaking. "Help us." They follow. John couldn't move. He just stared at her strange, glowing eyes. They were like diamonds with swirls of purple in them. The baby in her arms had stopped crying and was now looking at John with similar but smaller eyes. "Who's following you?" John finally managed to ask. The woman, if that's what she really was, took a step forward. "Bad ones. From home. Want hurt baby." She stumbled, clearly exhausted. "Baby. Special. Half your kind. Half mine." John's mind was spinning. Was she saying the baby was half human? Before he could ask more questions, bright lights appeared in the sky above them. They weren't airplane lights. They moved too fast and in strange patterns. The woman looked up in fear. "They come." She rushed forward and, to John's shock, pushed the baby into his arms. The child felt warm and surprisingly heavy. "Keep safe. Promise keep safe." "Wait, I don't understand," John said, holding the baby awkwardly. "What's going on? Who are you?" "Name Zora," she said quickly, looking back at the lights. "Baby name Alex. Half Earth, half stars." She touched the baby's cheek gently. "Special baby. Very special." Suddenly, Zora's legs gave out. John managed to catch her with one arm while holding the baby with the other. She had fainted, perhaps from exhaustion. The lights in the sky were getting closer. John made a quick decision. He couldn't leave them outside. He picked up Zora. She was surprisingly light, almost weightless, and carried both her and the baby into his house. Once inside, he locked all the doors and closed all the blinds. In the better light of his living room, John could see them clearly. Zora's blue skin seemed to pulse gently, like a heartbeat. The baby, Alex, looked almost human except for the subtle blue tint to his skin and those incredible eyes. As John watched, Alex reached up with tiny fingers that gave off a soft glow. John set Zora gently on his couch and looked down at the baby in his arms. Alex made a happy gurgling sound and grabbed John's finger with surprising strength. For a moment, John felt a strange connection, like electricity running through his body. Through his closed blinds, John could see the mysterious lights circling his house. His heart was racing. What had he gotten himself into? He looked at the unconscious woman on his couch and the baby in his arms. Whatever was happening, he knew his life would never be the same. In the distance, he could hear strange humming sounds getting closer. John held Alex tighter and whispered, "Don't worry, little guy. I'll keep you safe." As if understanding, the baby's glow brightened slightly, and for just a moment, John saw what looked like stars swirling in those unusual eyes. The strange night was only beginning, and John Miller, ordinary mechanic, had just become part of something extraordinary. Learning to parent. The first week with an alien baby turned John Miller's life upside down. Every morning brought new surprises, and not all of them were easy to handle. On the first morning, John woke up to find Alex floating 3 feet above his makeshift crib. The baby was sleeping peacefully in midair, surrounded by a soft blue glow. John nearly spilled his coffee when he saw it. He had to climb on a chair to gently pull Alex down, only to watch the baby float up again the moment he let go. "Well, that's different," John muttered, running his hand through his messy hair. Zara, still weak from her arrival, couldn't help but smile from the doorway. "Alex sleep better in air," she explained. "All babies from my world float when peaceful." But floating was just the beginning. When Alex cried, all the electronics in the house went crazy. The TV would turn on and off, the microwave would beep randomly. And once, all the light bulbs in the living room changed color to match Alex's mood, a deep purple when he was hungry and a bright yellow when he was happy. One afternoon, while changing Alex's diaper, John discovered another surprise. The baby's skin could become transparent, showing a network of glowing veins underneath. "Like stars in the night sky," Zora explained, her voice filled with pride. "Royal blood does this." John nearly dropped the clean diaper. "Royal blood, are you saying?" "Yes," Zara nodded, sitting up straighter on the couch. "I am. Was princess of stellar kingdom, far beyond your galaxy." Her face darkened. "But that life is gone now. Alex is more important." Learning to feed Alex was another adventure. The baby refused normal milk but loved a strange blue liquid Zora produced from crystals she carried with her. When mixed with water, it glowed like moonlight and smelled like summer rain. "Earth food not enough," Zora explained. "Alex needs star energy. These crystals hold it." But the crystals were running low, and worry lines appeared on Zora's face each time she made Alex's food. She wouldn't say what would happen when they ran out. The biggest challenge came when Alex started learning to talk. At just 1 week old, it began with simple words in both English and Zora's musical alien language. By the end of the week, he was forming complete sentences in both languages. "Accelerated growth," Zora explained, watching Alex play with floating toys he created from light. "Royal children develop fast. Must be ready to lead." One night, while Alex slept, floating peacefully above his crib, John found Zora standing in the backyard, staring at the stars. She was using a strange device that looked like a crystal compass, her face worried as she studied the sky. "They're coming, aren't they?" John asked, joining her. Zora nodded slowly. "My father's hunters. They track royal blood." Alex's human side. She paused, touching the crystal compass. "They think it makes him impure. Want to take him. Clean the bloodline." John felt his chest tighten. In just a week, he had grown to love the strange little baby who could float and make lights dance. "I won't let them take him." Zara turned to him, her eyes glowing brighter. "You would protect him, even knowing danger?" "Of course," John said without hesitation. "He may be half alien royalty, but he's also just a baby who needs help." What John didn't notice was the small device Zora slipped back into her pocket, or the tears that glowed like diamonds in her eyes. She had made a decision, one that would change everything by morning. Above them, shooting stars crossed the sky in strange patterns, like warning signs written in light. In his floating crib, baby Alex stirred in his sleep, his tiny hands glowing as he dreamed of worlds beyond the stars. Hidden dangers. 3 weeks had passed, and Alex was now the size of a 2-year-old child. His growth wasn't the only thing that amazed John. The boy had started creating small galaxies in his hands when he played. One morning, while eating breakfast, Alex raised his tiny hands and made a perfect miniature solar system float above the kitchen table. Planets the size of marbles spun around a glowing sun, complete with tiny rings around Saturn and swirling storms on Jupiter. "Look, Earth." Alex giggled, pointing to a blue-green marble. His voice had a musical quality that made the lights flicker. John watched in wonder, but Zara's face showed fear. "Alex, no star magic outside home," she warned, quickly dissolving the miniature planets with a wave of her hand. Earth people not ready. She had good reason to worry. Men in black suits had started appearing around town. They drove unmarked cars and asked questions at the local shops. Some carried strange devices that looked like weather equipment, but beeped faster whenever Alex used his powers. The boy's other abilities were getting stronger too. He could now walk through walls when excited, leaving trails of stardust behind him. John had to child-proof the house in ways no human parent ever had to consider. How do you keep a toddler safe when he can phase through solid matter? In my world, royal children learn control early, Zara explained one evening, after Alex accidentally teleported his dinner into orbit. But Alex is special. Half-human strength makes powers unpredictable. That night, something strange happened. Alex woke up screaming, but instead of normal tears, streams of liquid light ran down his cheeks. The entire house shook, and through his bedroom window, they could see the northern lights dancing in the sky. Except they were in Texas, where aurora lights never appeared. "What's happening to him?" John asked, trying to comfort the crying child who was now floating near the ceiling. Zara's face went pale. The calling. Too early. Much too early. She pulled out her crystal compass, which was spinning wildly. "My father's scientists. They're searching, using royal bloodline to track Alex." She rushed to Alex and spoke in her musical language. The boy slowly floated down, his tears of light turning normal. But the damage was done. In the distance, they could hear helicopters approaching. "They detected power surge," Zara said urgently. "Both your government and my people now know where we are." John peeked through the blinds. Black vans were pulling up outside, and men in suits were deploying what looked like satellite dishes. But they weren't pointed at the sky. They were aimed at the house. Then something even stranger happened. Alex walked to the window and placed his small hand on the glass. Where he touched, the glass turned into a window showing another world, a planet with 3 moons and cities that floated in the clouds. "Home," Alex said softly. "Grandmother calling." Zara gasped. "The Queen?" But she died. Her voice trailed off as the image in the window shifted to show a grand palace made of crystal and light. An elegant voice filled the room, speaking in both English and the musical alien language. "The child must return. The balance of 2 worlds depends on it." John looked at Alex, who was now glowing brighter than ever. The boy's skin had become transparent again, showing not just glowing veins, but entire constellations moving through his body. "They're here," Zara whispered, as bright lights surrounded the house from above and below. Government agents were at the door, while alien ships appeared in the clouds above. Alex looked at John with his star-filled eyes and said something that made both adults freeze. "The bad ones aren't out there. They're already inside." As if on cue, footsteps echoed from the basement, footsteps that moved up the stairs like gravity didn't exist. The truth emerges. The footsteps from the basement grew louder, defying gravity as they moved up the walls. John held Alex close, while Zara took a defensive stance. What emerged through the ceiling wasn't what any of them expected. It was a woman who looked exactly like Zara. "Hello, sister," the second Zara said with a cold smile. Her skin glowed red instead of blue, and her eyes were like black holes. The real Zara stepped forward. "Naira, I should have known father would send you." Alex looked between the 2 women, his star-filled eyes wide. Suddenly, he created a sphere of energy around himself and John, protecting them as the sisters faced each other. "Clever child," Naira laughed. "He senses the darkness in me. The experiments father did worked perfectly." She held up her hands, which leaked shadows instead of light. Outside, the government agents and alien ships seemed frozen in time. Alex's power had created a bubble where time moved differently inside the house. "Tell him the truth, sister," Naira demanded. "Tell him why the royal family really wants Alex." Zara's glow dimmed. "Our people are dying," she admitted. "The royal bloodline grows weak. Each generation, our connection to the cosmic energy fades. She looked at Alex with tears in her eyes. But Alex is different. His human blood didn't weaken his powers. It made them stronger. He can create energy, not just channel it. He's a battery. Naira laughed. A perfect power source for our dying world. John held Alex tighter. You want to use him as a power plant? No, Zara said firmly. Father wants to replicate him. Create more hybrids. An army of power sources. She walked to John and Alex. That's why I ran. Alex isn't the first hybrid child. He's the first successful one. Images appeared around them, projected from Alex's mind. They showed laboratories filled with failed experiments, hundreds of hybrid children who hadn't survived the power fusion. But I found the solution, Naira grinned. Dark energy. Father used it on me after you ran. She floated up, trailing shadows. Now I'm here to collect my nephew. Alex suddenly spoke, but his voice carried the wisdom of ages. The dark energy is eating your soul, Aunt Naira. I can see the holes where your light used to be. Naira's smile faltered. Her body flickered, showing glimpses of a decaying form underneath her beautiful exterior. Then Alex did something incredible. He reached out one small hand and pulled at the air. Reality itself seemed to tear open, revealing the true nature of things. The house disappeared, showing they were actually in a massive energy field. Government agents below were revealed to be androids built by the alien royal family. The ships above were just projections. No more lies, Alex said, his voice echoing with power. I fix. Light poured from his hands, surrounding Naira. She screamed as the dark energy was pulled from her body. Her red glow faded, replaced by a natural silver light. What did he do to me? Naira gasped, looking at her restored form. He healed you, Zara explained, amazed. He didn't just remove the dark energy. He restored your original cosmic connection. But the effort had cost Alex. He collapsed in John's arms, his glow dimming. Around them, reality snapped back into place. The agents and ships were still coming. He's too important to lose, Naira said, her voice now free of malice. Sister, we must protect him. Father doesn't know what he's dealing with. Alex isn't just a power source. He's the next step in evolution. As if responding to her words, Alex's body began to emanate waves of energy that spread across the globe. Every electronic device on Earth flickered. In space, satellites recorded a phenomenon never seen before, a wave of cosmic energy encircling the planet, changing everything it touched. The next phase had begun, and no one, not the royal family, not Earth's governments, was prepared for what Alex would become. The stars are singing, Alex mumbled in his sleep. They're saying it's time for both worlds to change. The betrayal. John woke to an unnaturally silent house. Something was wrong. The usual hum of Alex's energy was missing. He rushed to Alex's room and found the boy sleeping normally on his bed, not floating as usual. But Zara was gone. Where she used to sleep, there was only a note written in letters that shifted between English and glowing alien script. Keep him safe. They're coming, but not who we thought. The stars have shown me a darker truth. Ziz. As John read the note, Alex woke up screaming. But this wasn't a normal cry. His voice shattered every mirror in the house, and his eyes projected star maps onto the walls. The maps showed a massive fleet of ships hidden behind Earth's moon. Mom's scared, Alex said, his voice trembling. She saw a bad future. Before John could respond, his phone rang. The caller ID showed nothing, but when he answered, voices spoke in thousands of languages at once. Alex touched the phone, and suddenly a holographic image appeared in the room. It was a recording of Zara, but she looked different, older, with scars across her face. John, if you're seeing this, the time play has begun. They're not just after Alex's power, they're after his ability to exist outside of time. Our world is dying not just from lack of energy, but because time itself is unraveling. The hologram showed terrifying images. Planets where people aged backwards, stars that both died and were born simultaneously, galaxies that existed and didn't exist in the same space. Alex walked through the hologram, his body absorbing the information. His skin became like living space, showing galaxies moving beneath its surface. "I remember futures that haven't happened," he said in a voice that echoed through time. Mom saw them too. Suddenly, government vehicles surrounded the house. But these weren't the same agents as before. Their bodies glitched and flickered, showing they were beings unstuck from time. Alex grabbed John's hand. "They're time hunters. They want to use my blood to anchor their reality." The boy's power surged, and John watched in amazement as Alex aged and de-aged rapidly. A baby, a teenager, an old man, and a child again in seconds. Each change released waves of temporal energy that pushed the time hunters back. Nara appeared in a flash of silver light, her restored cosmic powers now helping protect her nephew. "The time plague is spreading faster than we thought. Zara didn't abandon you. She went to find the cosmic anchors, the only things that can stabilize reality." Alex touched the walls of the house, and they became transparent, showing the truth outside. The sky was cracking, revealing multiple timelines bleeding into each other. Some showed Earth as a paradise, others as a wasteland. In each timeline, different versions of Zara were searching for something. "Mom is everywhere and everywhen," Alex explained, his words creating patterns of light in the air. "But the real her left clues in my DNA." He held up his hand, and his skin became like living crystal, each facet showing a different memory. Zara discovering the truth about time's decay, her secret meetings with beings made of pure temporal energy, her tears as she realized what she had to do. A final message appeared, burned into reality itself by Zara's power. "The cure for the time plague isn't in the future or the past. It's in the spaces between moments, where Alex learns to be both human and stellar. Keep him human, John. His heart, not his power, will save us all." As the message faded, Alex's power fluctuated wildly. The house began to shift through different time periods: prehistoric, futuristic, apocalyptic, and back again. The time hunters pressed closer, their bodies becoming more solid as they fed on the temporal energy. John held Alex close as reality buckled around them. "What do we do now?" Alex smiled, his eyes showing not just stars now, but the space between them. "We find Mom. But first," he raised his small hands, and time itself seemed to hold its breath. "First, I need to remember how to be a child." In that moment, as multiple timelines converged around them, John realized why Zara had really left. Not to abandon them, but to force Alex to choose. Would he be a weapon to repair time, or would he learn to balance his cosmic power with his human heart? The answer would determine not just their fate, but the fate of all realities. The chase. Time became a maze as John and Alex ran. Behind them, the time hunters shattered reality with each step. Ahead of them, possible futures bloomed and died like flowers made of light. Alex, still learning to control his time-shifting powers, kept changing ages as they moved. One moment he was a toddler in John's arms, the next a teenager helping John over obstacles, then back to a child holding John's hand. "They're eating the time stream," Alex shouted, his voice echoing through multiple ages. In their wake, the time hunters were leaving patches of gray nothingness, places where time had been completely consumed. They found temporary shelter in what Alex called a moment pocket, a bubble of frozen time inside an abandoned warehouse. As they caught their breath, Alex did something extraordinary. He pulled a thread of light from his chest and wove it into a tapestry in the air, showing them the true scale of what they faced. "The time plague isn't just affecting our universe," he explained, his words creating patterns in the temporal tapestry. "It's spreading through the multiverse. Look." The tapestry expanded, showing countless realities. In some, Earth never formed. In others, humans evolved differently. But in every timeline, patches of nothingness were spreading like cosmic cancer. Mom found the first cosmic anchor, Alex said, touching one bright thread. An image appeared, Zara climbing a mountain made of crystallized time, reaching for a glowing object shaped like an hourglass. Suddenly, the warehouse walls rippled. Through them walked other versions of themselves, hundreds of Johns and Alex from different timelines, all fleeing their own time hunters. Time is collapsing in on itself, Alex realized. We're all being pushed into the same space. Then something unprecedented happened. Alex reached out and touched one of his alternates. Instead of causing a temporal paradox, they merge. Then another and another. Each merger made Alex glow brighter, his eyes showing not just stars now, but entire universes. I understand now, Alex said, his voice carrying the wisdom of countless selves. We're not supposed to run. We're supposed to unite. But the merging had attracted something worse than time hunters. Through the walls came creatures made of anti-time, beings that existed in the spaces where time had been eaten away. Their bodies were holes in reality, rimmed with dying moments. Chronophages, Alex whispered in horror. They don't just eat time. They prevent it from ever existing again. John watched as one of the creatures touched a corner of the warehouse. That section of reality didn't just disappear. It had never been there at all. His memories rewrote themselves in real time, adjusting to the new reality where that corner had never existed. In desperation, Alex tried something dangerous. He began pulling time itself into his body, becoming a living temporal battery. His skin became transparent, showing not just galaxies now, but the flow of time itself through his veins. I can give us a chance, he said, his voice overlapping with his other selves. But you have to trust me, Dad. It was the first time Alex had called him that. In that moment, John realized that through all the temporal chaos, their bond had only grown stronger. Alex raised his hands, and reality shattered, but in a controlled way. He was creating a path through the broken time stream, a road made of stable moments leading to where Zara had hidden the next cosmic anchor. But as they prepared to jump through time, Alex shared one last, terrible truth. Every time we use a cosmic anchor, it erases a reality to save the others. Mom didn't just leave to find them. She left because she couldn't bear to choose which worlds live and which never were. The chronophages pressed closer, their anti-time bodies eating away at the edges of their moment pocket. Alex, glowing with the power of his combined selves, grabbed John's hand. "Ready?" he asked, as the path of stable time flickered before them like a road made of starlight. "Ready," John answered, realizing that saving reality meant being willing to change it forever. Together, they stepped onto the time road. As behind them, reality continued to unravel, and ahead of them, the next cosmic anchor pulsed like a beacon through the temporal storm. The final choice. The multiverse trembled as Alex and John reached the last cosmic anchor. Around them, reality had been reduced to a handful of surviving timelines, held together by Alex's power and the anchors they'd activated. But they weren't alone at the final anchor. Zara was there, but not just one Zara. Hundreds of her from different timelines had converged on this point, each bearing the scars of their own journeys through broken time. "My son," they spoke in unison, their voices creating ripples in what remained of space-time. "You've grown so much." Alex, now stable in his child form, but glowing with the power of his combined selves, reached for his mother. Where they touched, time itself seemed to heal slightly. "The final choice must be made," the Zeras said, "but not by us." Above them, in what was left of the sky, the combined fleets of every surviving alien civilization hung like stars. The time hunters and chronophages had merged into a single entity, a living void that was eating existence from the edges inward. Alex stepped forward, his body now a living cosmos. When he spoke, His voice carried the weight of every Alex that had ever existed. I know what needs to be done, but I need all of me to do it. He turned to John, his eyes showing not just universes now, but the spaces between all possible realities. Dad, I have to unmake time itself, then remake it. Better, stronger. John's heart clenched. Will we remember? Will we still be family? Alex smiled, and in his smile were echoes of every moment they'd shared across all timelines. I'm going to do something never done before. I'm not just going to rewrite time. I'm going to weave love into its fabric. The void creature pressed closer, but Alex raised his hands. From his fingertips streamed threads of pure possibility. He began to weave them into a new kind of reality, one where time wasn't just a straight line or even a web, but a living thing that could heal and grow. The Zeras stepped forward, adding their power to their sons. Every timeline where love survived, they said, will be the foundation of the new existence. Alex's body became a loom of creation. Through him flowed every moment of love from every universe. Parents caring for children, friends helping friends, strangers showing kindness. Each moment became a thread in the new tapestry of reality. The void creature howled in frequencies that shattered the remaining laws of physics, but Alex kept weaving. Time was never meant to be rigid, he explained as he worked. It was meant to dance. John watched in awe as his son rewove existence, but then he noticed something extraordinary. He wasn't just watching. His love for Alex, pure and human and real, was becoming part of the pattern. Dad, Alex said softly, even as he reconstructed the multiverse, I need your heart to guide me. All these powers, all these cosmic forces, they're nothing without the love of a simple human father. Understanding dawned on John. This was why Zara had chosen him, not because he was special, but because he could love completely and simply without cosmic complexity. In the final moment, as reality held its breath, Alex made the choice that would echo through all of new creation. He wove time not in straight lines or circles, but in patterns that reflected the human heart, able to heal, grow, and most importantly, love. Close your eyes, Dad, Alex whispered. When you open them, everything will be different. But our love will be written into the physics of existence itself. John closed his eyes, holding onto that love with all his might. Around him, he felt reality dissolve and reform, guided by the heart of a child who was both human and cosmic, and powered by a love that transcended all of time and space. When he opened his eyes, he was back in his small house. But now there was a family photo on the wall. Him, Alex, and Zara, all smiling. Outside his window, stars twinkled in new patterns, and time itself felt softer, more alive. Alex, now a normal-looking child but with stars still dancing in his eyes, came running in. Dad, Mom's making breakfast. And guess what? Time says it loves us too now. John hugged his son, feeling the pulse of the new reality they'd helped create, a universe where love wasn't just an emotion, but the very foundation of existence itself. And somewhere in the vastness of the new cosmos, time itself smiled, finally understanding what it meant to be human.